Possession at the X, it's going to be a battle.
Two teams coming off losses last week. Two teams that generally need a victory today to crack that four-team Ivy League tournament field. Princeton, one of three home teams today in Ivy-on-Ivy matchups. If all three home teams win, Princeton would have a chance to host the Ivy League tournament. With a loss today, the Tigers would need some help. They would need a Dartmouth win against Brown in Providence. Dartmouth hasn't won an Ivy League game since 2015. So for the Tigers, pretty simple. You win, you're in, and then you hope for some help. If you're Cornell, they are in with a win. They are out with a loss today.
And Brown, you talk about that matchup. Brown, the hottest team in the Ivy League in terms of momentum. Both of these teams today coming off losses, they need to get back on that winning track. Regardless of which postseason these teams get into, you want to enter playing well.
See the starters for the Tigers at the bottom of your screen. This is the Ivy League's leading offense, fourth in the nation for the Tigers. Just a shade under 16 goals per contest. Princeton 9-3 overall, 3-2 in the Ivy League. 30 left on the shot clock. Game's opening possession. Here's Coulter Mackesy, the talented freshman. 8th all-time leading first-year scorer in Princeton program history.
First possession so important. The jitters today, it feels like a playoff game, feels like a championship game, and it is senior day.
Here's the senior Brown, whistles it wide with 8 seconds left on the shot clock. Chris Brown, we talked about him in the pregame open. 28 goals, too shy of a 30-30 season. Sam English, though, gets the scoring started for the 6th time in 13 games. English has the Tigers' first goal. 1-0 Princeton, a minute and a half in.
That's the thing about this Princeton offense, Cody. It's always the player you haven't mentioned yet that seems to rise to the occasion. That's how deep Matt Madelon and his staff have built this roster.
Sam English, the player we haven't mentioned yet, that's his 20th goal and 36th point. He's a junior. He was a defensive midfielder as a freshman.
A lot of goal scorers were playing different positions. Alex Slusher, 40-plus goals. He played midfield 2 years ago.
Face-off wings critical. Cornell controls the game's second face-off. Caleb Newman with the pole with the ground ball. Gets it over to Christopher Davis, who gets harassed in the midfield. Bo Pedersen causes the turnover, or causes the loose ball. Pedersen has to be a candidate, number 23, for All-America honors, but it settles down with, who else? John Piatelli, a guy who kind of does all the dirty work, does the scrappy things that are a big reason why Cornell is 10-3.
I mean, just look at the ground ball totals for this team. John Piatelli with 36 ground balls. C.J. Kirst, an attackman, with 35 as they get on the board.
The big 6'3 sophomore righty, Hugh Kelleher, with the equalizer 2 minutes in. 1-1 the score here in Princeton.
No ground balls necessary there. Look at that shot, testing Eric Peters early.
Kelleher, the sophomore from Long Island, he had the game-winning goal in overtime against Syracuse back on April 11th. He hasn't scored since, until just a few moments ago. 1-1 early on. Last time these teams met, final day of the 2019 regular season up in Ithaca, 14-13 Cornell. Clark Pedersen had a game-winning goal with 4 seconds to go. Stevens, ground ball off the face-off wing. Chris Brown got underneath his man but lost the angle, so it's back to X for Coulter Mackesy.
Against a short stick. On the outside of the goal on that shot, but Coulter Mackesy, good to take that effort against the short stick. Maybe another step or two to increase his angle.
Worth noting, Cornell playing without 2 starters on defense. Gavin Adler, who was an honorable mention All-American in 2020. He's the lone, call it, returning starter out there. Dom Doria out today. Ian Jacobs, 2 seniors on that back line. Doria, the 4-year starter on close defense, neither of them in the starting lineup today. So it's Gavin Adler, Jason Singer, and for the first time in his career, Jack Follows. Follows number 14. Look for him on defense for Cornell. This is his first career game. On the run, Billy Coyle, who moved into the starting lineup in midfield after Aiden Blake, a New Jersey native, went down with an injury at the midway point. Turning the corner, Michael Long with his 19th, and Cornell with back-to-back goals.
Just a beautiful take by Michael Long. Another New Jersey product out of Mendham. Went to Del Barton, one of the powerhouses in the Garden State. Barely turns his head, uses the turf to his advantage, and skips it past Peters. Cornell 2, Princeton 1.
Not only a graduate of Del Barton, he graduated as their all-time leader in points.
And when you look at the roster of players that Del Barton has produced, many of which have played for the Princeton Tigers, to be at the top of that list is truly impressive.
2-1 Cornell, back-to-back tallies for the Big Red as Sandoval leaves it. Scooped up by Angelo Petrakis, so face-offs 2-2. Second midfield line out there, Ryan Sheehan, Alex Holmes, Spencer Wertheim. That was the group last weekend. It looks like that'll be the group again for Connor Busick.
Big opportunity here for the Big Red. They fell down big, and they fell down early against Brown last week and just could never recover. And the opportunity here away from home with a 1-goal lead to get possession back, perhaps go back-to-back here.
They fell behind in that loss against Brown. Princeton, sort of a different game. The Tigers had a 9-4 lead at Harvard early on. That was a 1916 Crimson victory.
Princeton's gotten a couple big leads this year that they've seen diminish, and they've had to either fight really hard for the win or unfortunately come up on the short end.
Centering pass from Long, looking for Ryan Sheehan. Ball stays with Cornell with 20 on the shot clock. Alex Holmes pushed below goal line, extended by Marquez White. Sophomore defensive midfielder, 10 on the shot clock. It comes over to Licciardi at center. Actually, that's Sheehan. Up top, C.J. Kirst, bouncer wide, backed up by Long with 5 to shoot.
Key there is the shot was wide, Cody, so the shot clock does not reset. 3, 2, 1, and they'll roll it into the corner. A very smart play rather than trying to force it inside. Nothing was there. Now Princeton has to chase that into the corner, and Cornell can reset at the midfield and get into their ride.
Princeton's clearing effort will start with freshman Molshine. Here's Kirst in a wide open net. Failed clear, caused turnover, and a goal by Kirst. 3 in a row for the Big Red.
And you see why it's so important to get into your ride. They roll that into the corner, and wow, what an unforced turnover there. Just slips out of the stick. And the interception, if you will, by Kirst, another New Jersey native. If you don't know the Kirst name and you're a lacrosse fan in New Jersey, I don't know where you've been.
Tigers saw one of his older brothers, Colin. He's a second-year goalie, a grad transfer from Lehigh, who's manning the pipes for Rutgers up in Piscataway. Another one of his older brothers, Connor, Rutgers' second leading scorer last year after starting his career at Villanova. Their father, Kyle, he was a goalie at Rutgers in the late 80s, early 90s. He's in the New Jersey Lacrosse Hall of Fame.
We lost Kyle too early, a legendary lacrosse figure in the state of New Jersey.
After it was 1-0 Tigers on the early goal by English, 3 straight tallies by Cornell, the last one off a Princeton failed clear and a turnover. Sam English, the man who found the back of the net 90 seconds in. Gets it behind the cage. Alex Slusher, 40 goals in his junior season. Slusher playing in just his 18th career game. Christian Ronda back through English quickly, in and out of the stick of Vardaro to Brown. Gets around the pole, gets centered, draws the slide, sets up Mackesy. The senior to the freshman, and it's a 1-goal game.
And that's how Chris Brown has changed his game, was relied on as a goal scorer. And as I mentioned in the open, the emergence of a freshman like Colter Mackesy, who burst on the scene early in this season, and Alex Slusher, number 5, that you saw just there, have taken that goal-scoring pressure off of Chris Brown. What did he do? He changed his game and became one of the most prolific distributors in the Ivy League in terms of attackmen. You see what he does there. How about the composure by Mackesy, Cody? Caught that, and it was a foregone conclusion. It was in the goal. Made it look like it was practice.
2 starters on defense that are seniors. Dom Doria, Ian Jacobs out of the lineup today. They're replaced by a freshman and a sophomore, along with the senior All-America candidate Gavin Adler.
Sandoval battling at the face-off X. And again, you're just going to want to watch that all day.
Face-off's now 4-2 in favor of Sandoval and the Tigers. Molshine from the back line finds his way into the offense. Gets it to Chris Brown. Tigers careful they stay on sides. Princeton, the number 4 scoring offense in the country. Cornell defensively, 5th in the Ivy League, 32nd nationally.
English directing traffic up top. Vardaro on the field, lethal from the outside.
Rhonda, number 12, first-year starter for the Tigers, doesn't need a lot of space to get the hands free. Chris Brown goes low, rolls it in, and we're tied at 3. Brown had the last assist, and Chris Brown picks up the goal, number 99 in his career.
Well, Brown does the distributing on the first goal. He does the goal scoring here. How about that? Beautiful job of catching it up top, quickly going low to low, and Erlin couldn't catch up to it.
So Chris Brown, 1 goal shy of 100, 1 goal shy of the 5th 30-goal, 30-assist season in Princeton history. Face-off violation first of the half against Sandoval, so it'll be Cornell possession in a brand new game. It was 1-0 Tigers out of the gate after the early goal by English. 3 straight goals by the Big Red before back-to-back tallies for the Tigers. First look at Paul Wethington, number 4 defensive midfielder. They whiff on the shot. It'll stay with Cornell, though. Here's C.J. Kirst. Shot rings wide. It's backed up by Michael Long.
Some tough checks from Pace Billings. I would not want to run through those slap checks.
Pace Billings, such a talented deep, and all of a sudden pretty young Princeton defense. He's a sophomore.
It is again.
There's a junior, Michael Long, with his second. Gets above goal line extended. Cornell with a 4-3 lead here in the first quarter.
Rinse and repeat when it comes to that move for Michael Long. Get above goal line, extended, extend the hands, increase your angle, and he beats Peters to the far side. You're watching the Ivy League on ESPN.
Walk a mile in our shoes, from the classroom to the locker room. Here, our promise and our passion propel us down paths few dare to travel. We venture forward, energized with every step. We defy convention in defining ourselves, pushing to achieve, strive, and lead at the highest level with teammates, teachers, coaches, and classmates at our side. Together, we are Tigers. Together, we are Princeton.
Ivy League standings presented by TIAA. A logjam at the top. Penn playing a non-conference game. That was also a noon start. They're taking on Albany. You've got Harvard at Yale. You've got Dartmouth at Brown. 5 teams tied atop the standings at 3-2. So that means there's going to be a team, at least one team, that came into the final day of the regular season tied for first. That's on the outside of the Ivy League tournament field.
It's truly hard to comprehend when you look at the parity across the league. And don't forget, Dartmouth was receiving votes in the national rankings before they entered league play, which was just such a daunting task this year. Just week in and week out, it's felt like a playoff atmosphere. But Dartmouth knocking on the door in a lot of these games.
The Ivy League, 6 of the top 11 RPI. Princeton, Penn, Brown, Yale, Cornell, and Harvard in that order. 6 of the top 14 in the Inside Lacrosse media poll. 7 Ivy League teams that combined 38-10 against non-conference opponents. All 7 teams above 500 out of conference.
And that tells you all you need to know. You go look at the RPI, and it's just Ivy. And
Princeton lost on the road last week and moved up.
I know. So you lose in this league and you move up in the national RPI. And the RPI is really the blueprint for the NCAA tournament bracket.
I feel like every year people outside of the ACC complain when that happened in the ACC, and this year it's the same thing in the Ivy League when you've got 6 top 11 RPI teams. And even the teams that lose tend to at least not drop. And Kelleher lets it fly, backed up by Long.
To your point, Cody, you're talking about 1 or 2 teams out of the ACC, 1, 2, or maybe a third out of the Big Ten, but probably just 2, but the Ivy League loaded.
I think you're looking for the Ivy League conservatively 4.
Very
realistically 5
Yep.
if everything goes right for the other conference tournaments where you have the top seed win. Could potentially get as many as 6. Again, a lot of lacrosse to be played conference tournaments next weekend, but
correct.
That's at least fathomable.
Yeah, if all the automatic qualifiers went as expected, which I doubt.
CJ Kirst has another one with a fist pump to put the Big Red on top here in the first quarter.
And you hear the Big Red faithful. They traveled in numbers down from Ithaca, and for good reason. Kirst just finds space when the slide leaves him. He just slowly moves back from Bond, increases his angle to the center of the field, low to low on Peters. Peters, a right-handed goalie, had to come all the way down and left and couldn't catch up.
CJ Kirst with his second of the day, 5-3 Big Red on top. 6:23 to go here in the first quarter. Princeton wins the ensuing face-off, so now a chance for the Tigers to try to make it a 1-goal game. It's been a game of early runs.
And again, both teams trying to find their stride and enter the postseason playing well. A huge turnover.
Intercepted, number 77, Gavin Adler, one of the top defensemen in the country. Right back into John Piatelli, one of the team captains. He'll swing it out to the midfield and wait for a settled offensive situation. That's what Cornell does well. They're really good at, who is Cornell? Cornell is who Cornell has always been. They're tough. They don't make it easy. They play really well in settled offensive formations.
And disciplined on defense. They take chances, but they're calculated chances. That turnover is because they're in the right place at the right time.
That was Alex Holmes, so second midfield line of Sheehan, Holmes, and Wertheim out there. 2-goal lead for the Big Red. Draws the slide, sets up a teammate, extra pass. Over to Wertheim. Trying to get his hands free. That one deflected by Pace Billings. It'll stay with the Big Red.
If you're Cornell, you just want to keep going at Eric Peters right now. Again, Peters has had some tremendous games this season. He's a momentum goalie, and that save is big for his momentum.
Long carom, shot clock resets to 60. That's a rule change this year. You don't go all the way back up. On a retained offensive possession under 60 seconds, it resets to 60.
And I think we're finding the perfect balance with that type of change to the shot clock.
Kind of crazy to think that as recently as 4 years ago, there was no shot clock, at least no permanent shot clock.
Yeah, don't have a 2-goal lead with 3 minutes left. Might just sit in the corner.
Sheehan pushed below goal line, extended by Pedersen. Ben Finley, number 10, a watchful eye as they have him hung up. Peters ranges out. Here's Michael Long. He's got 2 goals. Rolls it wide. They back it up with 20 to shoot.
CJ Kirst will bring it in behind. I'm talking about Kirst a lot. We've seen what Michael Long can do, and then there's 41, Piatelli, the leading scorer in terms of goals.
CJ Kirst, his pass batted down by Pace Billings. Kirst falls on top of it. Karams out towards the midfield logo. Pace Billings with a beat, and Pace Billings, the sophomore from Denver, with the ground ball for the Tigers.
Really, really astute play by Billings to kind of play it to himself in the air and avoid the stick check.
Unsettled situation. Ronda with the skip pass on the doorstep. They were looking for McAshee, and the Tigers turn it over.
It just seemed like everyone was moving away from the ball with every one of those tic-tac-toe passes, and the last one just could not find 91.
It was 1-0 Tigers, then 3 straight for the Big Red before Princeton tied it. Now back-to-back tallies by Cornell. Looking for the game's first 3-goal lead here late in the first quarter. Top midfield line, Coyle, Licciardi, and Kelleher back out. Kelleher, the big southpaw, has it deflected over the crossbar with Long behind. 3 early turnovers for the Tigers, 2 for the Big Red. Michael Long on the restart, the junior out of Del Barton. Had a big freshman season in 2020, 19 points in 5 games. Has started all 12 games he's played in here as a junior. Peters ranges out, net is open. Kirst turning the corner, the dive. Officials get together and it's a goal. 6-3 Big Red.
We'll take another look. Eric Peters, that's twice he's coming out when they're hung up behind the goal. He cannot catch up there. It's a backhanded scoop. Look at the IQ from C.J. Kirst. The goalie comes out wide. He says, I'm going to beat you to the other side. He does just that. We'll see if Peters keeps taking that risk when they're hung up behind. Right now, giving up 6 goals in the first quarter, I would stay between the pipes.
And that's a look that we haven't really seen a lot of over his career as a starter from Eric Peters.
So you give up, 20 goals in that tight Penn game earlier this year, 19 last week. Look at the pace today.
Chris Brown went airborne to try to intercept that clearing pass, but Cornell is across. 3 straight goals by the Big Red. Big first quarter for Kirst. High stepping in. Here's Spencer Wertheim as they mix and match in the midfield. C.J. Kirst over to Sheehan. Now topside, John Piatelli, the Ivy League's leader with 46 goals. Pass out in front. Scoop by Piatelli. Turns and goes top shelf. I don't know what was more impressive, the handle or the goal.
Again, it's composure. Piatelli, tough handle, makes it look easy. Goal makes it look easy and then just walks away. No big deal. It's a huge deal. Cornell 7, Princeton 3. The exact opposite of the start Cornell got off to in the loss to Brown last week. Well, they learned from it. They made the right adjustments. And look what they've done away from home so far here in the first.
Clean face-off win by Sandoval. Gets it into Slusher on the doorstep. Mackesy and the Tigers get one back. Clean face-off win starts up the offense, and then tic-tac-toe for the goal.
These Tiger fans, they're here in numbers too. We've got a pretty even split here in the stands, and it is packed. And this is big for momentum. Cornell just felt like it was getting away from the Tigers in terms of momentum, in terms of possession. Coulter Mackesy, the composure from the freshman, couple goals today, 21st of the season, just burst onto the scene early. He was, hovering around 4th or 5th attackman coming into the season. No longer. He's going to be on the field for the duration of his career as a Tiger.
Coulter Mackesy last week, his second career 4-goal game in that loss at Harvard. He burst onto the scene with 4 goals on that Friday night against Rutgers as Cornell wins the face-off but throws it away.
You can just feel, Cody, that this game is just meant to go down to the wire. I mean, just the Ivy League all year, what else would you expect?
2 high-level lacrosse teams, 2 top 15 teams. Winner is in, the loser would be out of their control at that point.
I mean, Cody, how many Ivy League teams have rotated through the top 5 this year? It's unbelievable.
Yale, I think, was probably the highest team to start the season. I think Penn got
was
there.
Cornell was there. Princeton was there. Brown's there now.
If I told you a month ago Brown would be the highest RPI and the highest ranked Ivy League team, not highest RPI, but highest ranked team, would have looked at me like I had 3 heads.
4 weeks ago, no. 3 weeks ago, maybe. 2 weeks ago, wow. And 1 week ago, might be the best team in the Ivy League, at least certainly playing the best the last few weeks.
Princeton unranked in most polls to start the season. Brown was unranked in all the polls. Harvard unranked in every poll. That was to start the season. That's not the case on the final Saturday in April.
This one's a comedian. No respect, but they've earned it.
3-goal game, 30 seconds to go in the opening quarter. Hugh Kelleher works it below goal line extended. Matt Licciardi, inverted midfielder. Defended by the short stick midfielder, Sam English. He had the first goal for the Tigers, a good 2-way midi. Top side. Split dodge, they get it over to Coyle. He goes low and he scores with 5 seconds to go. Billy Coyle, the senior, out of Malvern Prep in the Hill Academy, makes it a 4-goal Cornell advantage.
I was watching the tape on Cornell. You know about Piatelli, you know about Kurse, but 11 jumps off the screen. He does the little things off ball. He's shifty. What a goal there. And how about the low-to-low against Peters today? That seems to be the formula to beat the Princeton goaltender. So if you're Cornell, keep going at it until Peters proves he can stop it.
Princeton, the number 2 scoring defense in the Ivy League, a week after they give up 19 at Harvard. Cornell with 8 in the first quarter. 15 minutes in the books. Cornell doubling up Princeton. It's an 8-4 Big Red lead here on the Ivy League on ESPN. Richie Moran passed away Sunday at the age of 85. A national champion as a player at Maryland, Moran spent 29 seasons on the Cornell sideline from 1969 to 1997. He led the Big Red to 3 NCAA titles, and Cornell's 42 consecutive wins from 1976 to 1978 remains a Division I record. Moran was inducted into the U.S. Lacrosse Hall of Fame in 1983, one of 9 Hall of Fame inductions he's received. Moran is survived by his wife Pat, as well as his 3 children, Kevin, Jennifer, and Kathy. His nephew Pat is a longtime athletics fellow for Princeton men's lacrosse. The Ivy League and the lacrosse community mourn the loss of a legend, Richie Moran.
RWJ Barnabas Health has a passion for heart health with the most comprehensive services, including the state's largest adult and pediatric cardiac surgery programs, a heart transplant program that's top 15 nationally, a partnership with Rutgers Health, the latest technology and medical advancements, and nationally renowned care for every heart in every community. Whoever your heart beats for, our hearts beat for you. RWJ Barnabas Health.
I thought booth 47 was Lords of Triniton.
Lords of what?
Rick, it's the portal. Give her the password. Golden Unicorn.
Oh, the comic convention was last week.
What?
This is an insurance convention.
Some insurance companies are known for their mascots. NJM is known for outstanding service you can count on.
Do you cover chariots?
You could save up to 20% on your auto insurance with NJM, if that's what you mean.
It's a minivan. Her name is Pegasus, and she's your ride home. Okay.
The Big Red playing today with heavy hearts. Nobody's heavier than that man, the Richard M. Moran, head coach of men's lacrosse. Connor Busick, former All-American midfielder for the Big Red. He's in his first season, second year as Cornell's head coach, was elevated to the interim role and then permanent head coach after Peter Milliman left to replace Dave Petramala at Johns Hopkins in 2020.
And what a job he's done, especially navigating COVID with the Ivy League, taking the year off to maintain this roster and this quality of play. A tremendous job for, quite frankly, a player that was wearing this jersey just a few years ago.
One of the youngest head coaches in the country. I believe he was the youngest when he was hired. Connor Busick, he graduated from Cornell in 2015.
And if he was not the head coach of Cornell, I think he'd be racking up a lot of goals in the professional game.
Just announced his retirement.
Yep.
3-time MLL All-Star, a PLL All-Star as well. Michael Long's had a big day, gets above goal line extended. Here's Piatelli. Actually, Coyle trying to change direction. Hugh Kelleher. Short stick matchup, knocked free by Pedersen. It'll stay with Matt Licciardi. Push below goal line extended by White. Here's Licciardi trying to get the hands free, trying to roll back in. Up top with 20 on the shot clock to Kelleher in the midfield. Physical game between these two Ivy League rivals.
That's nothing new for Bo Pedersen. That's what he does.
Big save by Eric Peters, one of the first that he's made cleanly.
Yep, and again, low to low. Good save for Eric to track down a low to low ball. Vardaro escaping. Some good stick work there, but no one moving to space for him. You gotta just run to space if you're Princeton, and that's not space.
Fourth turnover of the day by the Tigers. It eventually finds its way to Jason Singer, the freshman, getting his second straight start on defense. Cornell working it back up from right to left. 8-4 the score against a Princeton defense that gives up just 11 goals per game. Cornell offensively 13 goals per game, third in the Ivy League, 28th in the nation. Second midfield line, it's pretty much been a 50-50 split between that first group, Coyle, Licciardi, and Kelleher, and the second line, Sheehan, Holmes, and Wertheim. Here's C.J. Kirst, high to high, and a save by Peters, who looks much more comfortable here in the second.
Yeah, I think he likes this side of the field. Seems to so far. How about the clearing game? Cornell 7 for 7, Princeton 1 for 3. As they complete this one, but Cornell relentless here.
That Cornell ride has been impressive today. Mackesy has them hung up. Mackesy has 2 of the Tigers' 4 goals. The freshman coming off a 4-goal outing last week.
Princeton being doubled up right now makes every possession so important. They've had high percentage chances on the doorstep. They've converted on some they haven't. They're going to have to find a bunch of ways to score here to catch up.
Mackesy, 30 on the shot clock. Working against a short stick. Into traffic, looking for Slusher. Cornell gets the sticks up in the passing lanes.
Wow.
Big Red somehow coming out of that scrum. Kyle Smith, the sophomore.
How about that? Some wizardry to escape there. Almost untouched in terms of stick checks. And how about the recognition on the sideline Smith gets, and rightfully so.
Just a 2 face-off advantage, 8-6 for Cornell. They have 10 more ground balls through the first 19 minutes.
As far as I'm concerned, the face-off's a ground ball too. They're all even. They all equal a possession, right?
Shot on the run, misfired wide right by Licciardi. Now Licciardi, the only one of the 2 seniors on this Cornell midfield, just 12 points in 13 games. 35 career points. 22 of them assists. A good distributor in the midfield. One of the veterans on offense for Connor Busick's team. Shot on the run by Coyle, whizzes wide.
One thing I'm noticing, Cornell, they're able to turn the corner when they get above goal line extended. I want to see if Princeton makes an adjustment, brings that slide a little bit earlier to try to cut them off before they can increase the angle. Maybe force them to roll back, re-dodge from behind. Too easy for Cornell once they get above goal line extended.
You wondered who the matchups would be. They put Molshine on Piatelli, and Piatelli gets the better of the freshman that time. 5-goal lead for Cornell here in the second quarter. It's 9-4.
From Matt Madelon, it might be time for a timeout just to reset here. That time, Piatelli, patient, left hand, feels the defender on his back. When the defender goes over, he comes to his right hand. He has eyes in the back of his head, apparently.
They put George Bond on C.J. Kirst. Bond, the All-American. He's the senior. Colin Molshine, the true freshman out of the Brunswick school. He's charged with defending the Ivy League's leading goal scorer, John Piatelli.
Another ground ball won by Cornell. Should be.
Yep, there it is. Angelo Petrakis, the face-off man, eventually tracked it down himself.
Wow.
Stick side high, Peters makes it. Quick outlet to try to get out in front of this Cornell ride. Bo Pettersson in transition. Unsettled situation. He doesn't like what was developing, and he'll swing it back out to the midfield.
The sun pretty high in the sky. A couple weeks ago we had the 3 o'clock start where the sun was low, and really an issue for the goaltender. Shouldn't be too much of an issue. If you look at the shadows, pretty small.
Chris Brown has a short stick matchup to Slusher. He leaves it behind. Another ground ball. That's Dom Doria. Wasn't listed as a starter, but he's a senior and a 4-year starter.
And that's 2 plays in short order where they try to find Slusher on the doorstep, and either Slusher can't track it down through traffic or just can't make the catch, but unable to convert on either one. It seems like a good game plan. Of course, you want the high percentage shots, but might be time to test Erlin from outside.
Slusher came into this one with 22 more shots than any other teammate through 21 minutes. He hasn't taken a shot.
Like to see Vardaro get involved from the outside. The pace he can put when he has time and room from the outside is tremendous, and it might be a little bit of a change-up for Erlen to look at.
Michael Long's had a big first half, trying to work around Ben Finley. Top of the box for Wertheim. Over to the right side, Alex Holmes. That one kicked aside by Peters. Five saves now for Eric Peters. Chase Erlen, we've barely mentioned his name. He's only made one save. He's only faced 5 shots. C.J. Kirst trying to muscle up on. He gives it up. Ryan Sheehan has it stripped away from behind by Sam English. Sammy English looking to run. He clears it across for the Tigers. Cornell has numbers back. English gets below his man in transition. He's got his second, and the Tigers cut it to 4.
Let's take a look. It's a stick check. Cornell was looking to rotate, but English was in the way, and then it's just a track meet. There were no numbers until right about now. That's all the space English needed to beat Erlen.
I feel like there's a bunch of positions Sam English could play at the next level.
Yeah,
he's only a junior.
That's how you build a roster these days. Now that among other things, the penalty box has shrunk. It's harder to make those substitutions as you're going down the field. You need players that can play both ways. And that time,
face-off violation on Petrakis.
Yeah, there was one on Princeton earlier, now one on Cornell. It's Stevens, a do-it-all type of player, scrappy, a ground ball hog as he passes it off.
We are 22 minutes into the game. I think we've mentioned Jake Stevens once. Stevens has 20 goals. He's got 56 ground balls now as Rhonda puts it down on the turf. Princeton's turned it over quite a bit today. Cornell had it. Ball carrying towards the sideline, and Chris Brown scoops it for the Tigers with a timeout. A smart timeout, well timed by Matt Madelon for Princeton.
That is the ultimate scenario for a timeout. Right in front of your own bench, getting triple teamed, in traffic, just picked up the ground ball, timeout.
Talk more about Jake Stevens when we get back. Cornell, they had an 8-4 lead at the end of the first. It's 9-5 Big Red here on the Ivy League on ESPN.
I was able to take 20 weeks off, fully paid. Amazon has a fantastic parental leave. And then when you return to work, they have a program called Ramp Back. It was really nice to only come back and work 20 hours a week because building structure in the beginning is so hard.
Amazon proudly offers up to 20 weeks of fully paid leave for hourly employees.
Spending that extra time with them just meant so much to me. He's only going to be really little once.
Ego, the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power, brings you the Select Cut mower, built to exceed the power of gas. Customize the cut with Ego's revolutionary dual blade cutting system with 3 interchangeable blades. Featuring Ego's patented lithium battery technology, it cuts for over an hour on a single charge. And touch drive self-propelled technology makes it effortless. The Ego Power Plus Select Cut mower, exclusively at Lowe's, Ace, and Ego authorized dealers.
The BK $5 Your Way meal is here to make your choice easy and so tasty. Go straight to the Double Whopper Junior with piping hot small fries, 4-piece crispy nuggets, and a refreshing small drink. Can you believe you get all this for only $5? The $5 Your Way meal, only at Burger King.
One app, one tap, so stacked. A whole lot of everything, now that's facts. And man with the dunk, so ridiculous. Dribbling brilliance, just like Vinicius. Scores and stats make you wanna get that. It's only for everything, the ESPN app.
Jake Stevens, just the second Princeton Tiger since 1996 with 20 goals and at least 50 ground balls. He's got 2 ground balls today. The last player to go 20-50 in those categories, Zach Currier, his senior season in 2017. See that kind of second to last line? You've got to go back to 1996 for the last time that happened before Zach Currier. John Hess and Jesse Hubbard, they were both Attackman, they both did it. But anytime you're on a list with Zach Currier, John Hess, and Jesse Hubbard, you're in good company if you're Jake Stevens.
You certainly are. And honestly, those are MVP-type statistics. The ground balls, and how about Hubbard and Hess doing it as attackmen? It's just tremendous. The bounce pass there.
That was intentional, right?
I think so.
Skip pass through traffic to Brown. They've been
Stick
doubling him all half. They knock it away. Another turnover for the Tigers.
Brown tried the stick fake. Cornell did not bite on it.
8th turnover for Princeton. 4th caused turnover here in the first half by Cornell.
Yeah, we talk about Jake Stevens, obviously a tremendous on ground balls for Princeton, but how about the Big Red on the ground today, doing everything, all the scrappy plays.
23-10 ground balls.
And those possessions are the reason the scoreboard is the way it is. As George Bond challenges towards the sideline. That, ooh, close to, yep, out on Bond. I thought he might have kept it in.
Tried to sweep it back in, had a beat, but it went over the line, so it'll stay with Cornell. No change of possession, or shot clock will stay at 30. Turning the corner, Coyle with the tumble. He's got his second of the day, and the Cornell lead back up to 5. He wasn't a starter coming into the season.
No, but look at the shifty feet. He barely gets his stick above goal line extended. This will be a good look to see if the body did. Maybe one step above goal line extended. Now listen, Cody, this is easier said than done. Princeton needs to slide to collide at goal line extended. Right now, Cornell is taking it for granted that they can get above goal line extended, turn, and score. Princeton needs to make a concerted effort to stop that element of their game and make them try to score a different way.
Clean and tidy face-off win for Petrakis. 10-7 Cornell at the face-off X. This one rolling back towards the Princeton end, or the Cornell end. Marquez White with the ground ball for the Tigers. Gets it over to a teammate in space. Here comes Slusher. He's been quiet today, does not have a shot.
He's had some opportunities and again just couldn't track the ball on the doorstep inside the crease, but a lot of that goes towards Cornell. We saw Chris Brown bounce the pass. You asked if it was intentional? Yes, Cornell has their sticks up in the passing lanes. They're that disciplined on the defensive side. You've got to get creative in terms of ball movement.
Christian Ronda, short stick matchup.
Wow, again.
Sticks up in the passing lane. Ronda gets it back and then puts it back down on the turf.
You got it, Cody. Sticks up in the passing lane. That was wide open to go to your senior captain, Chris Brown. With space, time, and room, that probably would have been a goal. But Cornell, instead, another turnover.
Number 77, Gavin Adler. He's got 2 caused turnovers and now 3 ground balls. Andrew Song, one of the seniors honored pregame, trying to joust that free. Instead, it's Licciardi turning it in. So now Molshine on Licciardi. Here's John Piatelli, and Molshine slides back to him. So you've still got Bond on Kirst. You've got Molshine on Piatelli. Shot on the move, fired high, long there on the backup. That came in from Coyle.
Let's see if Cornell tries to attack from behind again. Well, the coaches want to talk about how they're going to approach the offensive side of the ball as they take a timeout.
Timeout, Connor Busick, first of the half for Cornell. Will stay here with 4:29 to go. Ground balls 25-11 in favor of Cornell. That's made a difference. You add that up, that's a lot of extra possessions.
It certainly is. And so far, 10 goals on the board to Cornell. You need the ball to score, and they keep doing everything necessary. Again, the word scrappy just describes it perfectly, but also disciplined. And a lot of times those two things don't go together. But Cornell, the perfect balance, taking the right risks, but staying disciplined, communicating well on the defensive side of the ball. Can't say enough about the approach Cornell took coming in to a huge game away from home with so much on the line. Again, If Cornell loses today, they are not playing next week in the Ivy League tournament. If they win today, they have a trophy.
Take a look at Gavin Adler. He was the only healthy starter on defense in the starting lineup, although we have seen a little bit of Dom Doria. Look at what he's done against some of the top goal scorers in the country. You could also tack on from a couple weeks ago, Sam King. He held him without a goal on just 2 shots against Harvard. That was a 17-9 Cornell victory, but you know, Brendan Nichter and Matt Brandow, some of the top scorers in the country, guys that are going to have a lot of success at the next level professionally, and he's been able to hang and keep them below their season average. Honorable mention All-American in 2020 in that shortened season. 2 of the best senior defenders in the Ivy League today. Number 77, Gavin Adler for Cornell. Number 17, George Bond for Princeton.
Can't say enough about those 2 players.
Each team with 1 timeout remaining as we creep up on the 4-minute mark in the second quarter.
There's the slide from Princeton early on goal line, extended, but they don't get back to the crease.
Billy Coyle has another one. He was the man left unmarked on the doorstep. At least I think that was Coyle. A lot of traffic in front of Peters, and Cornell opening up their largest lead of the afternoon at 11-5.
So when you're talking about defensive communication, you'll hear slide and you'll hear help. The slide started coming.
No, that was Licciardi. 5th goal of the season for the senior midfielder.
Cornell just showing how many ways they can score, and again, from behind the cage, so much of it.
Princeton needs a face-off win here. Instead, it caroms to the back line, and Jack follows. Number 14 playing his first career game with the ground ball for the Big Red.
And Cornell so efficient in their clearing today, 11 for 12. And again,
Spencer Wertheim leading the charge in an unsettled situation. Piatelli, the trailer, gets some space. Can't stick the corner with Long there to back it up.
11 goals for Cornell with 3:30 to go in the first half. Look at this goal scoring pace compared to where they were in the first half last week. Totally different worlds.
Michael Long somehow maintains the handle, works it up top through Holmes. Back to Alex Holmes. That one they tried to go low to high. 36 on the shot clock as we get a look at Eric Peters. 5 saves today for the senior, one of 25 Tewaaraton nominees. Peters had that remarkable stretch early in the season. There's a setup in front, a shot and a goal, Michael Long.
We'll take a look here. Again, the slide's there. The slide starts going. It's Ben Finley, 10. He starts going over, but no one recovers to the crease from where Finley moved. And that's just the definition of defensive communication. If somebody leaves, somebody must replace, and so on and so forth. It's just a puzzle. You always have to replace the pieces that leave.
C.J. Kirst had the first quarter hat trick. Michael Long completes his hat trick here late in the second. Another face-off win and another ground ball for Cornell. 12-7 advantage of the face-off X. In transition, the pole shot.
Here's
who was that in the middle? That looked like Joe Bartolotto. Bidding for his first goal of the season right on the doorstep. Tigers trying to take advantage. Alex Slusher, their leading goal scorer, still without a shot on goal today. Here's Bo Pedersen, a defensive midfielder. Played some offensive midfield as a freshman, had double-digit goals.
One of the strongest guys on the team, no doubt. He's got really one gear, and he's been known to run folks over. He doesn't run around you, he runs through you.
Not a lot of settled offensive situations for the Tigers. Really our first look at the second midfield line. Jamie Atkinson, senior captain.
And now you're at the point in the game, Cody, where you feel like they're pressing a bit.
Atkinson fires wide.
And you got to remember it's the first half, but a 7-goal deficit in the first half, you do start pressing. It's just your nature.
25 on the shot clock. Brown on the doorstep. Mackesy, the defender, gets to him quickly. 15 to shoot for Princeton. Chris Brown, short stick matchup. Extra pass, Slusher over the crossbar with 9 to shoot. How about the job Harrison Bardwell, the short stick defensive midfielder,
Timeout, Cornell,
has done in front of the crease. Timeout taken by Cornell with 90 seconds left in the first half.
The Cornell defense, what they're able to do, how they're able to move and replace, they're doing it perfectly. They're staying under control. Quite frankly, all that tic-tac-toe passing from Princeton, and Chris Brown kind of had a shot, but then Cornell cut him off, didn't take it. And then Slusher over Ames, goes above, and then he jumps in the air. You can tell he just wants to break through and get one in.
Matt Madelon has the gray hat and the dark gray pullover, his 6th season at the helm of the Princeton Tigers for the second straight year that the Tigers have competed. The Ivy League didn't have a season last year. 2020, Princeton starts the season unranked. They finish 2nd or 3rd, depending on which poll you like. Here in 2022, they start unranked. They were up as high as number 2. They come in ranked number 7 in the media poll, number 5 in the coaches poll this week. More importantly than that, number 2 in the RPI. 3 losses, Harvard and Yale in Ivy League play, and a 5-goal loss on the road early in the season against number 1 Maryland, in which, when the team bus left, they didn't have a healthy face-off guy on that bus. So no Tyler Sandoval that day, and that's one of the tighter games that Maryland has played. But you look at Princeton, it'll be interesting because if the Tigers can't come back, if Princeton loses today, Princeton likely out of the Ivy League tournament, still pretty much a lock for the NCAA tournament, and they would still have a good chance to host.
But, Cody, there's one way you don't want to enter the NCAA tournament as the shot clock expires, and that's barely coming away with a win against Dartmouth. The loss last week to Harvard, a loss potentially to Cornell, and then a week off where you can't find your footing again, so you're really not going in playing your best lacrosse.
Clear starts with the netminder, the senior Chase Erlin. Lobbed across with 5 seconds to spare into Piatelli.
It is wild to think that Princeton could lose here today and still play again on this field, but in 2 weeks, not next week.
Princeton, the number 2 RPI behind Maryland. 3 top 5 RPI wins, Georgetown, Penn, and Rutgers. That Georgetown win was on the road, plus that victory over one of the favorites in the Patriot League in BU. BU number 12 in the RPI.
And Cody, when you think back to those big wins or big losses, like the Maryland game, there was a common theme, and that was Eric Peters. He played his best lacrosse in those games, and he's got to find his way back to that level.
Yeah, Peters during that early season stretch, 19 saves against Maryland, 17 against Georgetown, 21 in the win against Rutgers.
Yep, and those are huge numbers in terms of saves. I mean, to do that in those types of games were huge, and huge for the RPI, obviously, as Bond looks to push transition.
2 seconds to go. That was his only shot. Get it across midfield, let it fly, and it sails over the crossbar. A 7-goal lead for Cornell. They hold Princeton to 5 in the game's opening.
Can't deal with waiting for...
Experience with Verizon Fios.
And then some. A lot of goals.
Your last moments will be
a Princeton team that gives up 11 goals per game. Cornell put up 12 in the first half. 8 of them in the first quarter. Ground balls lopsided. It's been all big red through 30 minutes, 12-5 as we take a look at the first half highlights.
Yeah, early on, Princeton with the hot start here at home. Coulter Mackesy making it look easy on the doorstep. Tight game early, just like we thought. About that for the Princeton Tigers, but goals were few and far between. Cornell, they found their stride and then some. A lot of goals right near that goal line extended area, which we talked about, and I can't wait to see the adjustments that may be made by Princeton coming up here in just a few seconds. But low-to-low goals early in this game are the Achilles heel for number 9, Eric Peters, between the pipes. Just couldn't seem to track him down. Cornell, 32 shots. Princeton, 11 shots. Tail of the tape.
Halftime stats presented by Ironworkers Local 399, proud building partners of Princeton University Athletics. There's that lopsided ground ball number 29-13. Big reason for that, Angelo Petrakis. Face-off man, the junior from Massapequa Park, New York, 12 of 19, 8 ground balls. He's been winning face-offs. He's been winning them cleanly, and that's gotten Cornell into their offensive sets quickly.
It certainly has. 29 ground balls, 12 face-off wins. Those are the little things that give you possessions. Possessions give you goals, and goals give you a 7-goal lead in a huge game in the final game of the regular season. As a flag flies, and Princeton will pay for this one.
First times we've seen the laundry come out. A Cornell player gets toppled. Billings touches up, and Cornell will go man up for the first time today.
Yeah, it's amazing. With 12 goals in that first half, none of them came with a man advantage. So we'll see what we can do here.
Not a seat to be had here in the grandstand. We've got fans lining the fences down both sides of the stands here at Sherrod Field. Bo Pedersen, the guilty party, so he'll drop to a knee as Matt Madelon, his head coach, comes over. And possession awarded to the Big Red. A 7-goal advantage to open up the second half. Cornell and Princeton, 2 of the 5 teams tied atop the Ivy League standings at 3-2. The winner of this game guarantees a spot in the Ivy tournament. Shot on the run, and there's another goal to open the second half. Billy Coyle.
As I said, Coyle, talk about cursed, you can talk about Piatelli, but Coyle will sneak up on you. But you've got to be ready for number 11. The quick catch and immediately switches direction to beat the defender, and Cornell just getting whatever they want on the offensive end. It seems like when they shoot, they score.
Coyle, the 3rd Cornell player with a hat trick. It was C.J. Kirst, then it was John Piatelli, now it's Coyle.
There's a turnover there. Might have been the trail check that forced that pass awry, but either way, Princeton will certainly take it as they'll look to clear. And again, Cornell, hasn't been in a 6-on-6 settled offense really, so we haven't been able to see those defensive adjustments. That's a shot. Mackesy with the backup, so they should get a quick restart, and they do.
Princeton saw a ton of that 9-10 man ride against BU a couple weeks ago. Actually scored on one of those from outside of midfield. What do you need to do if you're Princeton? It was a 5-5 game, and now all of a sudden 13-5.
Well, you've got to take shots. Again, Cornell has 33 shots to Princeton's 11. But to take shots, you need possession.
Hits the pipe, long Karam back out towards the midfield stripe. Bond trying to battle for it. It trickles out of bounds off Kirst. Tigers catch a break.
Yeah, they do. Connor Busick is livid in the box. He's got a case.
Officials getting together, talking it over, and they'll keep it with the Tigers. Connor Busick all the way out in the substitution box. English ready to get swarmed on the restart. He'll swing it back to Eric Peters.
We mentioned Vardaro as kind of a game changer and certainly a change up in terms of scoring strategy. His outside shot is one to be contested with nationwide. He puts a lot of juice. Busick just relentless on the official.
I said it was a 5-5 game. It was never 5-5. It was 3-3. Really the closest it's been since then. It was 5-3 Cornell, and the Big Red slowly pulling away.
So far, Princeton, though, 2 quick shots. Again, got to shoot to score. They've had the possessions to get those shots. Vardaro nearly able to get Princeton on the board here in the second half. Will he try again?
Vardaro gets under his man and gets one back for the Tigers before he goes into the headfirst slide. Just the 15th shot of the day for the Tigers, and it's 13-6.
All right, for the Tigers, on the run, great shot. Erlin can't keep up. And again, for Princeton, it's going to come down to ground balls and possessions. Face-offs, a huge part of that. Can Jack Henry Vara here do something to give Princeton some sort of make it, take it mentality? A big comeback is needed.
What a day for Angelo Petrakis.
Yeah. Petrakis says, no, not today.
15 of 22 at the face-off X. Shots 33-15 in favor of Cornell. Ground balls 30-13.
Princeton with 4 quick shots here in the second half. That is the formula, but you've got to stop Cornell.
Just about 3 minutes deep into the third quarter. Kelleher steps it in and then backs it out. He has Pedersen, the defensive midfielder. C.J. Kirst, he had a hat trick in the first quarter. He's been quiet since. Sophomore, one of the leading scorers for the Big Red, his first season of college lacrosse. Another one of those Big Red players out of Del Barton.
No flag there. Could have been a hold. It was certainly up high a bit.
Cornell in the crease.
Wow.
Turnover by the Big Red. We'll give it back to Princeton.
Another break for Princeton there instead of a flag.
But if you're the Tigers, you've got to take advantage.
Of course. I mean, you're not going to argue the other way with the referee on a call like that when you're down big.
Marquez White takes it in stride from Peters, gets pushed towards the top sideline over to Chris Brown. Trying to get around Adler. That's been a fun matchup to watch today.
It really has, and I think Chris Brown, he had a couple shooting opportunities that he passed up. Princeton did get a couple shots on those possessions, but no goals. The senior captain, time to be a little greedy with the shot total in this second half.
Slusher, the attackman, number 5, stepping above the restraining line as this one's fired high by English.
And again, when you look at saves, it still says 1 save for Chase Erlin. Put the shots on goal, make him make stops. He hasn't been tested.
Tigers get one back. Couple of early tallies in the second quarter. Mackesy,
he makes it look easy. He's so calm, cool, and collected. Just a stick fake, and again, like you're in the backyard, he's like, I'll shoot it. Low to low, past Erlin, and again, Erlin with 1 save. Shots on goal. English with a nice shot before, but too high. Test the goaltender who hasn't been tested. Good things will happen, but a lot of good things need to happen in this second half for the Tigers.
3 goals on just 4 shots for Mackesy, the freshman from Bronxville, New York. One of 5 Princeton Tigers out of the Brunswick school.
And one of these rare opportunities, given the face-off performance of Princeton, for that make it, take it. Few and far between, a really important possession for the Tigers. 13-8 is a completely different ball game.
Largest the lead got was 13-5, and there's the 3rd straight for the Tigers. Sam English.
Back to
it's
the
still a
face-off.
5-goal Cornell lead, but the Tigers, for the first time today, have some momentum.
There's a reason they've been so successful at home. They love the home field advantage, the momentum that the fans give them. But here we go, back to the face-off X. Can Tyler Sandoval give them 3 straight possessions?
You talked about it, Princeton. How good are they at home? They've won 13 straight, 7-0 this year. They were 4-0 at home in 2020.
Pushes it forward.
Sandoval overruns it, trickles back towards the net of Erlin, and finally it's Chris Brown coming away with it. Here's a shot, kick save, Erlin, 2nd save of the day for the senior.
Great shot, great save.
Adler looking for the ground ball, stays alive for Cornell. 50-50 ball, it's Princeton with Mackesy.
The freshman yard sale, though.
Would have been Mackesy's 4th ground ball of the day, and finally the senior, Chris Brown.
And no numbers for Princeton. They'll wisely slow it down, get their best 6 on the field.
Is there a more, not flashy, he's not the leading scorer, is there a more sound lacrosse player in the country than Chris Brown?
Fundamentally, I don't think so. What about the intangibles, the leadership, and the low to low, and Princeton's right back in this thing.
4th of the day on 7 shots for Sammy English. 4 in a row for the Tigers here in the 3rd quarter.
You got space. Again, Erlin's made a couple nice saves, but quite literally a couple. 2. You gotta keep shooting. English does just that. His 4th today, 23rd of the season, and it's a timeout on the field.
English looked like he was playing cricket with how that one rolled through the wickets of Erlin. 9:22 to go. The crowd fired up at Sherrod Field. 4 in a row for the Tigers. 8-goal lead whittled down to 4 here on the Ivy League on ESPN.
I thought booth 47 was Lords of Triniton.
Lords of what?
Rick, it's the portal. Give her the password. Golden Unicorn.
Oh, the comic convention was last week.
What?
This is an insurance convention.
Some insurance companies are known for their mascots. NJM is known for outstanding service you can count on.
Do you cover chariots?
You could save up to 20% on your auto insurance with NJM, if that's what you mean.
It's a minivan. Her name is Pegasus, and she's your ride home. Okay.
RWJ Barnabas Health has a passion for heart health with the most comprehensive services, including the state's largest adult and pediatric cardiac surgery programs, a heart transplant program that's top 15 nationally, a partnership with Rutgers Health, the latest technology and medical advancements, and nationally renowned care for every heart in every community. Whoever your heart beats for, our hearts beat for you. RWJ Barnabas Health.
Walk a mile in our shoes, from the classroom to the locker room. Here, our promise and our passion propel us down paths few dare to travel. We venture forward, energized with every step. We defy convention in defining ourselves, pushing to achieve, strive, and lead at the highest level, with teammates, teachers, coaches, and classmates at our side. Together, we are Tigers. Together, we are Princeton.
Sure, Ivy League football Defensive Player of the Year. He has, hoping to hear his name called in the later rounds of the NFL draft. You would figure if that doesn't happen, has a chance to sign an NFL contract. How's he spending his Saturday afternoon? With about 300 of his closest friends and classmates.
Cody, I saw
here
him
for
here
Princeton, Cornell.
early. He was here early at Class of 52. I said, do you have season tickets? He said, I sure do.
Critical face-off. Adler comes away with another ground ball, and finally a possession. It's been a while for Cornell. It was an 8-goal Big Red lead. Princeton with 4 straight. This is as close as they have been since it was 8-4 at the end of the first quarter. And now Cornell trying to stop the momentum. With a head of steam, Kelleher. White bodies him up, and he'll pass it off to Long.
You can, the crowd, quiet, tension.
Here's Licciardi. 5'7" midfielder back up top to the 6'2" Kelleher. Shot on the move is wide.
If you're Princeton, got to show the defensive adjustments that you talked about at halftime. You can see what the Tigers can do with possession. There's the goal line extended. Peters goes low. First guess is right, and a huge save. That shot went in more often than not in the first half.
Goal is wide open. They're going to throw it the length of the field. Adler knifes it down and has another ground ball. Kelleher with that big 6'2" frame bouncing off a couple of defensive midfielders, and now Cornell with some space. On the run, Long fires wide, or actually Coyle.
not many folks that will go right at Bo Pettersson at midfield. Hugh Kelleher is one of those, 6'3", 220, not scared of a little contact.
Adler, 3 caused turnovers and now 6 ground balls. He's a close defender.
Look at this battle. This is an Ivy League championship type of battle here.
That was Kirst against Bond, and now they get it up top. Wertheim, second-line midfielder, the junior from Baldwinsville.
This is a different defense. This is tenacity. This is movement. This is communication.
Big hit, flag flies late. White loses his stick, has to head off, so the flag is down, and it's essentially 6-on-5. English joins the fray. Pettersson makes some contact with Kirst. Free possession here for the Big Red with the flag down. Shot fired over the crossbar by Wertheim, and the Big Red will go man up for the second time.
Take a look at the call here. Unnecessary, a full minute.
Didn't say non-releasable. Take another look. 23, Bo Pettersson. They probably called that on, yeah, it's Marquez White, 24. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be honest, from our angle, you didn't see kind of the sandwich.
On the replay, you did.
You sure did.
So a different look, man down. Joe Youngerkiss, 13. Luca Lazaretto, 7 out there for the Tigers, along with Bond, Finley, and Song. Penalty on White, second man up of the day for the Big Red.
Big opportunity for the Big Red to reclaim momentum.
Princeton, an area they've struggled, man-down defense, 4th in the Ivy League. Kerr steps into it and burns it home to get one back. A man-up goal for the Big Red. And the Cornell lead back to 5 midway through the third quarter.
And when you talk about the change in momentum, when Princeton scores those consecutive goals and chips away, the one goal by Cornell just feels so big. And Kirst comes through. No surprise with the last name Kirst. He's going to play big in a big game. But a huge goal for Cornell to get their 14th.
Here's the scary thing. So we talked about it, 6 of the top 11 in the RPI, Division I men's lacrosse, Ivy League teams, as Sandoval wins the face-off and Nifty throws it behind the back to Stevens. Ivy League's not going anywhere. You look at Cornell today, Kirst has 4 goals. He's a sophomore. Adler, their best defensive player, he's a senior, but he's got some eligibility left. Princeton's leading goal scorer today, you've got Sam English. He'll be back. Coulter Mackesy, he's a freshman. He has a hat trick.
It was a big senior day. It wasn't the biggest. I think Rutgers last weekend, 27 seniors.
Opportunity, Vardaro, maybe the Tigers' best outside shooter, left unmarked from the near side wing.
He's a game changer with the outside shot, and he takes that outside shot a lot of different ways. He can go low to low, he can go high to high, or he can go with a little bit of the sidearm. Let's take a look at that one. Erlin thought he was going to go far pipe. Instead, at the last second, flick of the wrist changes that direction. Near side, says Vardaro, and the Tigers get to double digits.
Heading into the preseason, they were looking at Alex Vardaro as the third man on the attack. Chris Brown, the returning starter. Alex Slusher, the obvious choice to slide down from midfield. They were looking at Vardaro. Here's Stevens on the run off the Sandoval face-off win. Princeton cuts it to 4.
Well, if you went away from us before halftime and you just turned the game back, welcome back to Princeton Cornell. The game we expected is here. Jake Stevens wants something to say about the Ivy League title.
Matt Madelon, his recruiting emphasis has been on gritty, tough-nosed two-way midfielders. Jake Stevenson personifies what he wants this program to look like. Big face-off win by Sandoval, who's had a big second half. Sandoval to Stevens, here we go again.
Wow, this is a totally different game. This is a totally different Princeton team on both sides of the ball. They entered the second half with 11 shots on goal. They've already doubled that to 22 with 5:30 to go in the third quarter. Completely different recipe.
It was 8, it's down to 3. Mackesy with some space, hits the pipe. Long carom, rolls out of bounds, and it'll be Princeton possession. Was that English or Vardara who won the foot race?
There was somebody in white, and that's all head coach Matt Madelon cares about.
I don't think I've ever seen a foot race for a ricocheted shot by that substitution box.
If Mackesy had put that one in, I don't know if the bleachers would have held up.
Which concerns us in the press box atop the bleachers. Mackesy put it on the right side, gets it to Brown, operating below goal line extended. Now up top, English. Under 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. He gets clotheslined and draws the flag. Possession stays alive. Brown has it knifed down by Adler. Tigers will go man up for the first time today.
First time today.
Call will be a hold. Princeton has the Ivy League's top man up unit, 6th in the nation at 50%. Another pretty easy call.
Cornell fouls number 46.
Yeah, that one was as easy as they get. And for Princeton, took till 4:42 in the third quarter to get their first 6-5 advantage on the offensive side of the ball. Let's see what they can do with it. They'll start with English behind the cage. And their biggest scorers above goal line extended. That's Stevens, Mackesy, Slusher, Vardaro, Brown.
Penalty is on Joseph Bartolotto, fifth-year senior long stick midfielder for Miller Place. Princeton 50% on the man up, 6th best in the nation. The Tigers last week at Harvard 2 for 5. The Cornell man down defense. Middle of the pack in the Ivy League held Brown to over 2 last week. Not entirely sure what the delay is. Shot clock, they have 80. Was a change of the ups and back to 60 because Princeton retains possession. Alex Slusher's been eerily quiet. Number 5 camped out on the near side. There he is. Sam English has been far from quiet. Through Brown, shot by Mackesy. Big save for Erlin.
You nailed it, Cody. He stepped right out and just ate that up.
It's like they did exactly what he was expecting.
Yeah. If it's on tape, they probably prepared for it.
Princeton, a team that generally prides itself on transition, the clearing game, playing quickly, two-way midfielders. We'll bring up some numbers in a little bit, but Princeton's actually done a better job in longer possessions.
They have. The statistics tell the story.
And I guess that makes sense when you've kind of got a balanced scoring attack. You want to try to play your way into those mismatches.
Yep.
Molshine bumps his man Piatelli below goal line extended. Piatelli, number 41, the Ivy League's leading goal scorer coming into the day. He's got 3 goals on 5 shots.
Big save for Peters there. I thought it might find its way home.
Shot clock resets, penalty expired, so we're back at full strength.
Princeton calling for a ward, and I think they had a case.
A lot of underclassmen out there. Billings, number 3, the sophomore. Molshine, 43, the freshman.
Good movement by the Princeton defense there. You saw Pedersen just sneak out just enough to make them kind of do a double take at that pass.
Paul Wethington, number 4, he's a freshman. .15 on the shot clock, getting dragged down Piatelli, and a big save by Eric Peters. Piatelli trying to reach in and make it tough. It's one of the staples, you know, you can call someone a really good attackman. One of the staples, how well do you ride, how much do you pressure the opposing team? Seeing a couple of the best, Chris Brown and John Piatelli today.
Cody, one thing we haven't talked about, because both teams, this is a must-win, but the amount by which you lose for the team that comes up short will play a factor in where you are in the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
It's the game within the game.
I think that's the 26th tiebreaker for Ivy League tournament seeding.
Yep. But make no mistake, you talk about Princeton, the 5-goal loss to Maryland actually helped them in the RPI. The loss last week, and they move up in RPI.
Vardaro steps into it, hit the pipe, but the putback by Mackesy. Right place at the right time for the freshman. What a day for him. He's got 4. Princeton has cut it to 2.
This hit 2 pipes? 1-2. It did. And the goalie. That is, man. Sometimes you need bounces to go your way. And that just speaks for itself. That was quite the carom.
Coulter Mackesy really burst onto the scene that 4-goal game against Rutgers. That was what, number 3 against number 4?
Stevens
shovel pass, Mackesy. Rolls around the defender. Erlin goes down low to get the stop, but it kicks out.
He's out and in. It's Princeton ball. Out and in. You cannot leave the crease and re-enter it with the ball. Heads up play. Is that Chris Brown forcing that? I believe it was.
Chris Brown on the ride. Not flashy, but he does everything well. Out in front, great job defensively. They wouldn't let him get his hands free. That was Ronda.
And there was no shot there. Maybe a timeout. Ooh, tic-tac-toe.
He's shifty. Coulter Mackesy, number 5, and it's a 1-goal game. What a third quarter for the Orange and Black.
They entered the locker room at halftime as one team. They left that locker room as a completely different team. And you would think it would be the seniors leading the way, and it's the freshman that entered the season and wasn't even a starter. Coulter Mackesy, what a day.
5 goals for Mackesy. That's a new career high for the freshman from Bronxville, New York, product of the Brunswick School. It's the 14th freshman in program history with 10 goals and 10 assists. Princeton's outscored Cornell 8-2 in the third quarter, and it started with that man at the faceoff, ex number 35, Tyler Sandoval. He's been a man on a mission.
And another possession for the Tigers, which were so few and far between in the first half. What a poke check. Adler, you rarely see that check anymore in lacrosse. One of the first ones you learn when you pick up a stick. Still relevant today.
Adler's been the momentum stopper. Every time the Tigers have had some momentum, they've been fired up. The crowd's been into the game. It's been number 77.
It certainly has.
Piatelli trying to force the pass. Another ground ball. Here's a shot on the move and a goal. Great concentration and effort by Spencer Wertheim.
Wertheim, a smooth operator, right along goal line, extended. Look at this stick skill. Just drops the stick at the last second and goes 5-hole on Eric Peters. Cornell with a 2-goal lead again. And that sideline trying to get the team amped up. The crowd going nuts.
Tyler Sandoval not in for this faceoff. They'll go with Kobe Ginder, the freshman who missed a good chunk of time. He suffered an injury the second game of the season on a Tuesday night against Binghamton. Came back 2 weeks ago against Dartmouth. Another one of those products out of the Brunswick School. It's Alex Slusher with the ground ball. Slusher fighting his way through. He draws the crossbar. That would have made it a 1-goal game again. Chris Brown shovels it to Mackesy. He gets upended. If this was hockey, that would be interference.
Wow, what a quarter.
It's Princeton, it's Cornell, it's the final day of the regular season. What else would you expect? Big third quarter for the Tigers as they outscore the Big Red by a count of 8-3. A 2-goal contest as we head to the fourth.
My name is Gary.
Pastel. Josie. I have MS.
I have MS.
MS is what we have.
I take Ocrevus.
An infusion treatment that's 2 times a year.
For adults with relapsing or primary progressive forms of multiple sclerosis, Ocrevus is proven effective in reducing relapses in RMS and slowing disability progression in RMS and PPMS.
Don't take Ocrevus if you've had a life-threatening allergic reaction to it or have hepatitis B. Tell your doctor about vaccinations or if you've had Hep B, as it could come back. A common side effect of Ocrevus is infusion reactions, and some may require hospitalization. It can increase your risk of infections, which can be serious and may decrease certain types of immunoglobulins. While PML was not reported in clinical trials, it could happen. An increased risk of cancer, including breast cancer, may exist.
MS is what we have.
Not who we are.
Not who we are.
Not who we are. Ask if Ocrevus is right for you and join our community.
Switch to Verizon Fios, the 100% fiber optic network built for streaming.
Our household is always streaming. At any given moment, we have a show going. We always have music going.
Now get 12 months of the Disney Bundle on us and $300 off the Stream TV soundbar. All for $89.99 per month, only from Verizon.
I knew things were coming to an end. When you're the man in the arena, there's no thrill like that. There's still a desire to win.
Sherrod Field, the place to be if you're a lacrosse fan here on this Saturday afternoon. Game 2 of our Ivy League lacrosse doubleheader coming up some point after 3 o'clock. Winner take all on the women's side. Princeton and Yale both undefeated, both tied for first. The winner claims the outright Ivy League title and will be the host of next week's Ivy League tournament. Kyla Sears 7 points shy of the Tigers' all-time scoring record. Yale has never won the outright Ivy League title. Princeton seeking their 7th straight. And, oh yeah, Chris Saylor, second winningest coach in the history of Division I women's lacrosse, coaching her final regular season game.
What a day on campus.
How about this? Chris Saylor, 429 career wins. That's after the Wednesday win against Columbia. Bill Tierney, who she shared that Dillon Gym Tower, both lacrosse offices in Dillon Gym. 428 career wins as a college head coach. Those two built powerhouses here in the 90s.
Some things are just poetic. You can't write it, and it just ends up happening. Slusher, the early double by Cornell, brilliant there. And again, sticks up in the passing lane, and who else? 77.
Ground ball, still a hearty advantage for Cornell, 40-29, but that's gotten a little bit tighter, and the Tigers have taken advantage of some possessions.
Alex Slusher hasn't found his stride here today. Now he's drawing the short stick matchup in certain cases, but right now Chris Brown has that matchup.
Chris Brown through traffic, shot from English, kick saved by Erlin. Ground ball scooped up for the Big Red. Jack follows. 9 saves for Peters. That's the 4th today for Chase Erlin. We haven't really had a chance to talk about if that name sounds familiar. Yes, he is the younger brother of T.D. Erlin, the all-time leader in face-off winning percentage in the history of Division I men's lacrosse.
Talk about two brothers, right? Normally if you play attack, your brother plays defense. Goalie and face-off as we're going to get a clear hold and a whistle. But Cody, just to finish that thought, how about the competitive nature of the Erlins? You know, you play attack, you just need to be one of the best 3 to get on the field. Midi, defense, goalie, face-off. You got to be the best on the team. Both of them have seemed to navigate well. How about TD at the face-off X? Really the best to ever do it.
Bo Pedersen frustrated as Cornell goes man up for the 3rd time.
That's a white 2-3 hold, 30 seconds.
Again, those are the types of whistles that Bo Pedersen's going to get, and the coaching staff, that one obviously pretty obvious, but those are aggressive fouls that aren't going to get under the skin of the coaching staff too much because you're doing the right thing. You're playing defense the right way. Just got a little out of control.
Cornell 2 for 2 on the extra man so far today. It's an area where the Tigers have struggled defending man down. Just a 32nd man up. See number 40, Danny Cadigan out there, man up specialist. Kelleher with the extra pass. Through traffic, Piatelli steps back, penalty about to expire. Penalty expires, Mackesy steps back onto the field, English steps back up.
Peters gets a piece of it.
Peters covers it up and pulls it back in.
That was close. Looked like Lazaretto put it in the crease, but Peters wasn't expecting him to, and that can get dangerous really quickly.
Eric Peters, one of 25 Tewaaraton nominees, and I don't think you could have faulted Matt Madelon if he went to one of his other backups. That's a deep goalie room with Rackauer and Gian Fercaro, but they've stuck with the senior captain.
You love going with the guy that got you here, but wow, there he is. You knew he'd break through.
First goal of the day for Alex Slusher, number 41 on the season to lead the Tigers, and it's back to 1.
40 goals, you knew he had to find one in the biggest game of the season, right? And he does. Little sidewinder, great accuracy by number 5. And he was just pressing a little bit, Cody. We talked about it kind of during a break. Slusher just seems like he hasn't found his way. Maybe that's the catalyst.
Alex Slusher, he'll compete with Team USA this summer in Ireland for the under-21 national team. One of 26 players that'll head out to Ireland as part of the World Championships. Princeton a couple of years ago had Michael Sowers and Austin Sims play for Team USA. Looking for the tie, Slusher.
Wow.
Erlin comes up and meets him.
Biggest save of the day.
Two very different styles in goal.
They really are. Erlin just went all out to make that save, and what a save it was.
It's got to be over when the clock hits 60, and they clear it with plenty of time to spare into Alex Holmes. Cornell led this one by as many as 8. Princeton cut it to 1 late in the third quarter before that goal to put Cornell up 2 by Spencer Wertheim. Michael Long, he's had a nice day, defended by Finley. Long has it trail checked away. Pace Billings with a beat on it, whistle, and possession will stay with Cornell.
We're going to reset the shot clock because there was a change of possession. So a fresh 80.
Gorgeous Saturday, packed house, Ivy League title on the line, 2 historic rivals. Doesn't get a lot better than this. 8-goal lead whittled down to 1. Michael Long trying to get above goal line extended, working on Finley. Here's Wertheim. He had the most recent goal. Shakes Bo Pedersen through Kelleher.
Great communication and slide by Princeton. That was not there in the first half.
Shot saved by Peters, springs out of his crease. Peters had 5 saves in the first half. He has 6 already in the second half.
It's just, again, Princeton entered this half with 11 shots. 33 are on the board.
6 saves for T.D. Erlin. He had just 1 in the first half, so the goalies have been more active. Still 10.5 minutes left to play in a higher scoring affair than I think we were expecting.
Good job by Cornell there, noticing that English wasn't looking.
Bidding for the tie, Erlin goes up high for the save.
You want to test Erlin, of course. He hadn't made a lot of saves. Now he's finding his groove, and the high to the stick side just is not going to beat a goaltender like Erlin.
Harrison Bardwell with Mackesy lashing at it. The freshman knocks it down to the turf, but Cornell maintains the handle. Harrison Bardwell, grad student, short stick defensive midfielder, clears it in himself and then curls off to the sideline. Chris Davis jogging over as well. Hugh Kelleher, top midfield line for Connor Busick checking in.
See if they can get Michael Long involved. We mentioned him on the last possession. He had those 2 beautiful goals in the first half and has been quiet since.
Head of steam from the midfield. Kelleher shakes his man, goes right hand and slings it wide. Had the matchup against the underclassman short stick midfielder Paul Wethington. got a good look, just wasn't able to put it on cage. Shot clock didn't reset, so 20 on the timer. Kelleher behind his man, works it to X. They've got him hung up. Not a lot of time, though. 13 to shoot. Michael Long above goal line, extended back out to the midfield. 7 on the shot clock. Piatelli, Ivy League's leading goal scorer, gets underneath Molshine and scores. With 3 seconds on the shot clock, Cornell goes back up by 2.
And that move, when he got to the crease, was elite. Take a look at this. It's in his left hand. He drops his stick and then brings it over Peters at the last minute. That's a goal you see at the next level pretty routinely. Wow.
High left side, low right side, back up high. Came into the day with 46 goals, 4 ahead of Matt Brandow for Yale. Back to a 2-goal lead, critical face-off. Tigers had the first crack at it with Chris Brown. And he's not able to keep it in bounds. It'll go to Cornell with 8:46 to play. Two other Ivy League games today. Yale against Harvard. That's coming up at 3 o'clock today. Actually, that's coming up at 2 o'clock. Brown with an early lead at home against Dartmouth. Princeton hosts the Ivy League tournament if all 3 home teams win. So that would be Princeton, that would be Yale, and that would be Brown. Turning the corner, Long somehow finds an angle. Right upper 90 around Eric Peters for his 3rd of the day. Back-to-back goals, and the Cornell lead is back up to 3.
His first 2 looked identical, and I thought this one might too, until he decided to go high with it. How did he place that? I mean, those are 2 elite plays by Cornell. Piatelli and Long coming up big in a huge spot to give Cornell a 3-goal lead, which now seems like a big one.
Sandoval back into the face-off. X wins it cleanly. So face-offs now 18-17 Princeton. Big reason why the Tigers have managed to claw back into this one. They've trailed by 1 twice.
Vardaro back on the field.
So we take a look at the out-of-town scores. Brown with that early 7-3 lead.
Take a look at 19, Vardaro, who really got things going in terms of momentum for Princeton here in the second half.
Rhonda back to Mackesy. He's been the Tigers' leading scorer. 5 goals, a career high for Mackesy. Gets behind his man. I think that got Erlin Shin based on the lack of the clank and the fact that he was hobbling a little bit as he tried to win that foot race.
It never feels good.
One position in sports I don't know that you could pay me to play.
There's a few, and it's definitely on the list.
Vardaro tried to go sidearm top shelf. It's backed up by Slusher with 48 on the shot clock.
Probably better off that was high and wide. That didn't have the pace you'd normally expect from 19, and it would have been right in Erlin's stick.
Tigers down by 3,
what a
fourth quarter,
check.
jousted away by Adler.
This
5th cause turnover, 7th ground ball for number 77.
You just don't see surgery like that on a lacrosse field very often, and he's done it a couple times.
Not a big guy. He's 5'8", 180.
Are you kidding me? And he looks at the sideline, and they respond.
Just got a standing ovation from his team.
I mean, that's an art. That is an art. The placement of those checks. You see so many people just wailing on people, and he just decides to go in with precision.
Back-to-back goals for Cornell after it was 15-14 behind the defense. Big save by Peters against Licciardi.
To play on because Cornell landed in the crease. Peters out of the goal, and Cornell looking to ride hard here.
Colin Molshine, the freshman, up to Bo Pedersen. was a one-goal game at 15-14 after the Tigers trailed by as many as 8. Shot whistles wide.
Wow, that had pace. I did not see that ball in the air.
Back-to-back Cornell goals, Piatelli and Long. 5.5 minutes to go. The winner is in the Ivy League tournament. The loser would need a lot of help. Shot by Sam English. He's had a huge Saturday afternoon to cut it to 2. 5th goal of the day for Sam English. That's a new career high for number 15. Timeout on the field. We'll step away. 5:22 to go. 4th quarter. Sam English rolls it in, his 5th of the day, and it's a 2-goal game down the stretch.
The BK $5 Your Way meal is here to make your choice easy and so tasty. Go straight to the Double Whopper Junior with piping hot small fries, 4-piece crispy nuggets, and a refreshing small drink. Can you believe you get all this for only $5? The $5 Your Way meal, only at Burger King.
At Amazon, hourly employees earn benefits that support themselves and their families. Employees earn health care on day 1.
7, 8.
And up to 20 weeks of fully paid leave for new parents. But these benefits are just the start.
Amazon was definitely a step up. I went from $10.10 to $17.75.
We'll keep making improvements to support our employees and their families.
Migraine attacks? You can't always avoid triggers like stress. Qulipta can help prevent migraine attacks. You can't prevent what's going on outside. That's why Qulipta helps what's going on inside. Qulipta is a pill, gets right to work to prevent migraine attacks and keeps them away over time. Qulipta blocks CGRP, a protein believed to be a cause of migraine attacks. Qulipta is a preventive treatment for episodic migraine. Most common side effects are nausea, constipation, and tiredness. Learn how AbbVie can help you save on
everywhere.
These teams have combined for 56 Ivy League titles. Connor Busick's Big Red, 29. Matt Madelon's Princeton Tigers, 27. Put that into perspective. 29 for Cornell, 27 for Princeton. Brown is third with 10. 3 of the last 4 meetings decided by a goal, including most recently 2019, final day of the regular season in Ithaca, 14-13 Cornell. It's a 2-goal game as we return to play. Face-off win for the Tigers, and the shot by Slushers wide.
Again, for the good of the facility, if that one had gone through, the bleachers go with it. Holy moly, this place is on its feet, and for good reason. And if anybody left at halftime, I feel sorry for you.
It was an 8-goal Cornell advantage. Princeton had a 4-goal run. They scored 6 of 7 at one point. They've been within 1 twice here in the second half. Now down by 2 with under 5 minutes to play. Big possession. Slusher gets bodied up by Bardwell. Foot race for it. Out of bounds off Adler. It'll be Princeton possession.
He played it out. I thought he was going to box out Princeton, but it may not have made it out of bounds.
No change of possession, so shot clock does not reset. Sam English, a step on his man.
What
Kick
a save
by Erlin. Hits a defender in the helmet, right to the Tigers, Coulter Mackesy.
Heads up play by Chris Brown, quite literally finding that ball in the air and making sure Cornell didn't come down with it.
Mackesy's got a career high 5, so does Sam English. So many different players that can beat you for Princeton. 40 on the shot clock. Aaron pass. Vardaro looking for Ronda, who then wisely goes and sets the screen. That one never got through to the goal. Defender stepped in front. Ground ball. Picked up by Jack Follow. His nice college debut for number 14 for the Big Red. Princeton tough on the ride. They've got to get it across midfield before the shot clock hits 60. Here's Bardwell, feathers the pass, and Cornell clears it.
Great job by the Big Red there, getting that clear across midfield. And now coming up on 50 seconds on the shot clock. So that's the game they're going to play now. Time on the game clock, time on the shot clock with a 2-goal lead.
Take it down to about 2:40.
Yep.
Kelleher with a head of steam draws the slide from Baum. They didn't like the matchup against White. 30 seconds on the shot clock. Piatelli will step it out. Molshine fights through the screen from Licciardi. Piatelli the dive, tough angle, sails wide, backed up by Long with 18 to shoot.
Good take given the backup by Long, and we've seen what Long can do, but he gives it up quickly to Kirst.
Billy Coyle back out to the midfield. Kelleher, Piatelli, the Ivy League's leading goal scorer, being lashed at. Pedersen breaks his stick out in front. Shot by Coyle. Did that get Peters? It did not. Shot clock will stay at 4. Still a broken stick down on the field. Tigers finally get Wethington in. Cornell dumps it off in the corner. Both teams have to be happy with that. Cornell runs the shot clock. Princeton stays within 2.
Call it a stalemate. Move on. Here's Bond, the do-it-all defender.
Crossfield pass, Finley splitting the defense, clears it in. Here comes Ben Finley. And as he gets it in, Matt Madelon will take a timeout with 2:19 to play.
Really important timeout here with a 2-goal lead for Cornell. You do something careless and you give it back, they start churning clock. This is a huge possession, changes the entire complexion of who takes home a trophy and a share of the Ivy League title today. There will be at least 2 teams that share the Ivy League title today with the potential of 3.
Five teams coming into today tied atop the Ivy League at 3-2. Penn, who's 3-3 in 6th, still mathematically alive. When we say that weird things have to happen, that's the polite way of saying Dartmouth would have to win its first Ivy League game since 2015 to really shake it up. But here's what's at stake between the Tigers and the Big Red. The winner is in the Ivy League tournament. If Cornell hangs on, in order for the Big Red to host, they would need Dartmouth to come back against Brown on the road, and right now it's a 4-goal Bears lead in Providence. Although Dartmouth's played some teams tough. 1-goal loss against Cornell, a 2-goal loss where they had the lead late against Princeton. Winner is in, loser most likely out of the Ivy League tournament field. You would figure with the number 2 RPI in the country, even with a loss today, Princeton into the NCAAs.
Yep.
You figure with a win today, Cornell strengthens their case.
Absolutely. You know, Princeton, now that they've shrunk the margin here, they're still in that hunt to host that first-round game. If it was a blowout Cornell win, likely I think that they might be on the road, but we would see. But again, neither team coming in here riding a hot hand, coming off losses, both of these teams, but in a huge position today.
2-goal Cornell lead, 2 minutes to go, 4th quarter. 3 of the last 4 meetings have come down to 1 goal. English, Vardaro through traffic. Rhonda winds, big save by Erlin Adler with the ground ball.
Erlin is coming up huge.
10 saves today for the senior, 9 in the second half. And Adler's been the star today defensively for Cornell.
I didn't read deep enough into his bio to know if he played high school soccer, but enough kick saves today for Erlin.
He's a lacrosse goalie. He was also a state champion goalie in ice hockey.
Kick save and a beauty.
50 seconds on the shot clock. They can run this down to about 30 seconds remaining. And there's not a lot the Tigers can do.
That last possession was so big, and Erlin's save was even bigger.
Michael Long has the carpet pulled out from under him with Ben Finley lashing at the junior out in the midfield. 25 on the shot clock. Tigers doubling. by the end line. And did we get a timeout by Connor Busick? Yes, we did. Final timeout taken by Cornell.
And another brilliant timeout by Connor Busick, who again has done such a great job when he inherited this program in such uncertain times, not only in lacrosse, obviously globally, but what he was able to do. The Ivy League takes a year off, and he just can't get any games under him as a head coach. Well, look at him today. Really impressive job by the entire coaching staff, really on both sides, especially with the halftime adjustments Princeton was able to make, regardless of outcome.
Connor Busick took over as the Cornell head coach, I believe at the age of 27 or 28, April of 2020.
Cody,
not a lot of good time to take over doing anything.
Normally when you see the coaches that are in their mid-20s, they're the volunteer assistants or, doing grad school coaching. Connor Busick is a head coach of potentially and about to potentially take home a share of the Ivy League title. Unbelievable job.
Graduated from Cornell in 2015 and never really left. Couple seasons as a volunteer assistant, joined the staff full-time in 2017. Named the head coach when Peter Milliman left in 2020 for the Johns Hopkins job. 17-15, Cornell on top. It'll be Cornell possession. 19 seconds on the shot clock, 49.4 on the game clock. I believe Cornell is out of timeouts. Princeton has one remaining. Great crowd and a pretty even split. Orange and black and red and white here at Sherrod Fields.
For that second game, we'll swap out the Big Red for the Bulldogs. And another trophy will be handed out.
That's what I'm saying. If I'm a Cornell fan, I don't know, maybe you stick around for that. 6-0 against 6-0.
I don't know if they all stick around. Where do the Yale fans go?
Some gravel on the other side. 13 on the shot clock. Goal is open. Piatelli seals it.
That's it.
Tigers kind of do the math and you say, okay, how much time is left where we think we can get two possessions? They had Peters out on the ride. Piatelli, the Ivy League's leading goal scorer, buries it, and it's a 3-goal Cornell advantage.
What a tremendous job by the Big Red to withstand the comeback by Princeton and then again play great lacrosse when it counted most. Their best lacrosse, no doubt, was in the first half of this game. But they found enough lacrosse here in the fourth quarter to take home a share of the Ivy League title.
Fourth of the day for Piatelli, ensuing face-off. Gobbled up by the Big Red. Here's Bardwell, airs the pass. Pinballs off a couple of players, hit long in the helmet. Big Red coming away with it. Angelo Petrakis, the face-off man, get it into Michael Long. He'll run out the final 15 seconds in the corner. Tigers trying one last-ditch effort to body up Piatelli, but time expires, and the Cornell Big Red.
Final score, Cornell 18.
In a week and a game that means a little bit more after the passing of their longtime head coach Richie Moran, the Cornell Big Red clinching a share of the Ivy League title, clinching a spot in the Ivy League tournament, knocking off the 7th-ranked Princeton Tigers 18-15 here at Sherrod Fields.
Cody, we said coming in it would come down to the wire. Then at halftime, we wondered if we were second-guessing ourselves. But in the end, it was what we thought it would be. A great lacrosse game on a great weekend. And as you said, Cornell takes home a share of the Ivy League title in a week that means so much to the Cornell Big Red program.
Connor Busick, his first season, second year as the head coach of his alma mater. He can call himself an Ivy League champion. They hand him the Ivy League champion banner. The team goes over to meet Chase Erlin, who had 10 saves, 9 in the second half.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will now recognize the 2022 Ivy League men's lacrosse champions, the Cornell Big Red.
Cornell will finish the regular season 11-3 overall, 4-2 in the Ivy League.
2022 men's lacrosse champion.
Gavin Adler, 8 ground balls, 5 caused turnovers. John Piatelli quiet in the first half. He finishes with 5. C.J. Kirst, the sophomore, with 4 goals. Michael Long with 3. Big second half by Chase Erlin. Cornell led by 8. Princeton got it as close as 1. But the Big Red prevailing, 18-15, the final score. They're Ivy League champions.
They certainly are, and they deserve it. And Cody, regardless of how the rest of the day in the Ivy League shakes out, and whatever the scenario or wherever the Ivy League tournament is played, we're going to see some Ivy League matchups next weekend. There's no doubt about that. But the week after that, dare I say, do we see some more Ivy League matchups in the big dance? Because there will be great representation across the Ancient Eight in the NCAA tournament, and it's going to be a heck of a postseason.
Princeton, who is as high as number 2 in the national rankings, they'll finish out the regular season with back-to-back losses. Harvard on the road last week, Cornell at home this week. They finished the regular season 9-4, 3-3 in the Ivy League. Not mathematically eliminated from Ivy League playoff contention, although they would need Dartmouth to snap that 36-game conference losing streak and come from behind to win at Providence. So Princeton most likely out of the Ivy League tournament. Cornell is in the Big Red, or in a share of the 2022 Ivy League championship. So for Dave Giancola and the rest of our crew, I'm Cody Crushell saying so long from Sherrod Field for the final score. The Big Red 18, the Tigers 15. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.